Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Caroline and I'm so glad y'all are here today. I am so excited for this video. I have been planning it for about a month now. I've done a lot of prep work and I think it's going to be so fun. Today we're going to be talking about Q3, Q2, Q3 2025 book releases. And new book releases are one of my favorite things to talk about. It's what I look forward to every new year. And I like checking my phone literally every day to check if my favorite authors are coming out with new books. And that's ridiculous, but it's true. I'm always like scrolling Goodreads, figuring out who's releasing new books. So I have compiled a massive list for y'all of every single genre that I can find that seems interesting, every book that seems interesting, and even if they're not ones that I necessarily would like to read, ones that I think maybe y'all would like to know about. So it's going to be a really long one, but thank you for being here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when I post. We're going to be having one more of these videos this year. Today is going to be May through July, early August. And then the next video and the last video of our 2025 book releases will be the end of the year, and that will be September, October through December. Let's just hop right in. So starting out in May, also if you didn't know, I have a Q1, Q2 video of 2025 book releases. If you want to go check that out, I'll put the cover right here and I'll put the link down in the description. Make sure to go check it out so you know the books that have already come out that you can go buy that maybe you missed out on. But this one we're going to be starting in May. So if you want to know from April back, go check out that video. Today we're going to be starting in May. The first release day in May is May 6th. That is going to be The Tenant by Frida McFadden. This lady is writing books like, I don't even know what a good analogy is. I can't even put it into words. I'm suspicious at this point. I'm suspicious. So she's coming out with a book. This one is, all of her books seem to follow kind of the same plot line, just with different characters or different focus. And this one is focused around creepy neighbors and like creepy buildings and how you just can't trust the people that are directly around you like you used to be able to or should be able to. I'm sure it'll be super quick and easy to read. I don't know if it'll be quality, but I'm going to read it. I told myself I wasn't going to read The Crash and I bought it already. So yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to read it. But as I've read more from her, I realized that I'm not as much of a fan, but they are great if I'm in like a slump or I'm just not feeling reading. I can guarantee that I'm going to get through it in 5 or 6 hours, which is amazing. That's exactly what I need in my life. The next one is a little bit different. This one is Silver Elite. This one's by Danny Francis. This one is a mix between sci-fi and speculative fiction. You know me, I love, love, love speculative fiction. It's one of my favorite genres. It's one of my favorite things to read. I love books like Dark Matter, Curfew by Jamie Cowie. Those books are my bread and butter. Those and cult thrillers and cult fiction are my bread and butter. They are my go-to. They are what keep me reading. And this one is one I'm really excited for. Danny Francis, I've never read anything by this author. I actually need to see if this is a debut novel real quick. Yes. So this is going to be Danny Francis's debut novel, which I think makes it even more interesting to read because no one's ever read from this author before. So I think it'll just be really interesting to start a new author, a new speculative fiction author. I love how much speculative fiction and sci-fi is coming out this year. I feel like it's finally like hit its stride and everyone's into it, and I'm so happy. Like finally we're getting so much. So this one I'm reading on Goodreads. It is actually part of a trilogy. It's a new dystopian trilogy. The blurb says a young woman must conceal her psychic powers and her attraction to her handsome, infuriating, commanding officer as she works uncover to take down a brutal government within. So it's going to be like what the government could become in the future. And it sounds like it's going to have some romance elements as well and be kind of fantasy related in the essence of like it has a hierarchy and governmental rule and very dystopian governmental rule. So I'm really excited about that one. The next one, also, it's a trilogy. That's just not sinking in. That's a trilogy, so that's going to be really, really exciting. The next one I saw that I'm really interested in is What If It's You by Jilly Gagnon. This is a sci fi romance. Yes, you heard that right. A sci fi romance. This one, the cover is so adorable with like the pixelated people. And that's what really caught my eye because pixelated people automatically translate in my brain as like the simulation theory. And so I was like, man, a romance around that sounds immaculate. So I will be picking that one up as soon as it comes out. So yeah, this one is about a girl who thank thanks to alternate reality and AI and being able to form realities that aren't our own or the one we are currently living, this girl gets to go back and like revisit a relationship of the one that got away. And that's a really interesting premise. I love the idea of adding or like intermingling AI with romance right now and near future. I think that's such a hot topic on all of our minds is like how AI is going to shape our future and artificial reality and intelligence is going to shape our future. And it definitely is going to in like our romantic lives. I feel like if anything, it will hit that first. And I think that this is a genius idea. Jilly Gagnon knew what she was doing. This is a genius idea if it's executed right. Anyway, we are not off to a hot start. Anyway, okay. Metallic Realms is next. This one is by Lincoln Mitchell. This one is straight sci-fi. I don't know that much about it. It's not really my cup of tea. It is like true science fiction, more related to space. I particularly saved it for my husband because it seems like something that he would really love. So if you or your significant other loves Star Wars, Star Trek, and super duper spacey science fiction, this one is probably for you. I simply love it because of the cover. It's that pop art, um, graphic novel. Like, I just really, really like it. I want it for my shelf just to put on an easel so that everyone can look at it because it's so cool. And that's truly the only reason it's on here. But if you like space sci fi, true sci fi books and fiction, pick it up. I think it's going to be really, really great from what I can see. Also, I just realized I did not give you all the dates for these. So these past two, What If It's You and Metallic Realms, May 13th, guys. May 13th. So The Tenant and Silver Elite are coming out on May 6th. And then What If It's You and Metallic Realms are coming out on May 13th. I am so sorry. Next on May 13th is 32 Days in May. This one is from Betty Corello. So 32 Days in May, basically it revolves around this girl who she's been diagnosed with lupus, and she spends a month with a man who they decide is a no strings attached relationship. She kind of has nothing to lose. She's super sick. Who would want to love her is kind of the gist of how I think she feels. And it's going to be a fun, like, they're going to be in it for the fling and in it for a good time. And then it's probably going to turn serious. And they're going to end up being together. And it's going to be really cute. It reminds me a lot of what the Saltaire series is. And I love that series. It's my favorite series of all time. Not Safe for Work is next. This one is coming out on May 20th. This one is a workplace romance written by Nisha J. Tooley. This one I believe is about a couple of coworkers, a boss and a subordinate, and they go on a work trip, I believe, and things start to, if you know what I'm saying. So honestly, I love the cover of this one. This one looks just so cute. I read workplace romance is one of my favorite romance tropes. I think that they're always high tension, which I really like. They're normally slow burn because they know they're kind of like forbidden. And then yeah, you also get that forbidden aspect, which I really like about romance. And so This one is going to be very heavy on workplace and I think a little bit of enemies to lovers. So if that sounds like something you would like, pick it up. And then next on the 20th is The Ascent by Alison Bukala. This one I am so excited for. I'm so excited, and you will not be surprised because it is a cult thriller, or a thriller with culty aspects. And I just talked about it. It's my bread and butter. It's what I could read a cult thriller every single book. Is cult thriller a real genre? You may be asking. I don't think so. It's just something that I have created in my world, my mind. Um, Basically, it's just a thriller about cults, or that has some kind of cult influence, or any kind of cult book I really enjoy. I enjoy learning about cults, the psychology behind them. It's just something that really like fascinates me is not a good word, but y'all know what I'm saying. It's just something I'm interested in. And so when I get to read fiction novels and explore the brains of people who have made cults as bad as their brain can make it when they're already so bad in the real world, give me more. Give me more. And this is one that I've not seen anything about. I can literally barely find it online. I had such trouble finding it on Goodreads, even with the author's name. And I've not seen it anywhere. And then I think also there's another element of this one that I haven't seen in other cult thrillers, of like a person who has escaped a cult. They're like living their real life and then they get haunted by their past life in the cult. And maybe it's just as a kid or maybe it's as an adult. I think this one is about a person who she was like raised in the cult and escaped, and so she has it from the perspective of a child. And now the cult is coming back to kind of haunt her, or at least her association with it at one point. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. If you like reading about cults like me, true crime fascinates you, anything like that, this is probably the one for you. Moving on to I Want You More. This one's also coming out on the 20th. This one I actually just found like yesterday. It's not going to be for everybody. It's literary fiction, mystery thriller. A woman goes to work a live-in job and she may get manipulated into more. Then the last one in May that I heard about this book being released and I was like, there's no way. There's no way that this person's actually releasing another book this year. Typically they only release one, they're releasing two, this will be three. And that's Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. If you didn't know, it's okay. She randomly dropped this one on us like a month ago, no cover. The cover finally came out this week. It is beautiful. I also was so freaking excited when I realized it was number 2 in the Not in Love series by her. I had no idea that Not in Love was going to be a series. If you know me, you know Not in Love was all time reading last year. I was changed by that book. Rue and Eli destroyed me, put me back together. I'll never forget them. Most people did not love that book from her, but it was my favorite. No shame, no apologies. I connected to them so much and I think about them all the time. And I am so, so excited that this is going to be in their universe. That is immaculate. I could not love anything more. So definitely pick that one up. That one is coming out on May 27th, and that wraps up May. Moving on to June. Before we hop into June, in my previous 2025 book release video of like Q1, Q2, that one I did put out a few June releases that had been released or like announced way earlier than these ones that I'm going to be talking about today. Those were anomaly books. Those were ones that were coming out from big authors. The ones I'm talking about today are ones that have just been announced that they are going to be releasing, or maybe they are from debut authors that we just found out about. If you think I left any out, I probably talked about them on that other video. So definitely go check out that other video once again to fill in all the gaps of what you're missing, because there is a lot in June that I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to repeat myself, but you can hear me chat about them in another video. So definitely go there. Okay, June starts off weird actually. June 3rd was supposed to be the first release date of June, and then Frida announced this past week that she was releasing another book. I'm not kidding. Not kidding. That's 3 books this year. And we may find out there's a fourth. There may be a fourth that I don't know about. If there's a fourth, please let me know, because I can't buy 4 of her books this year. I can't do it. So I'm going to have to choose. But on June 1st, she is randomly releasing another book called Death Row. This one, there's not much out about it. I don't know a whole lot about it. Like I said previously about The Tenant, it's probably going to be the same plot line with a new character and a new setting. And it'll be shocking, it'll be short, and I'll be able to read it in 5 to 6 hours, and we will move on. So moving on. June 3rd is The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. Julie Clark is the author of The Last Flight. The Last Flight is a thriller surrounding airports and airplanes and flying. This one, the girl we're following, the main character, she is a ghostwriter for one of the biggest names in horror. And his name is Vincent Taylor. So what I'm assuming like Stephen King is in our world. So she's writing his books. He is publishing them under his name. She then agrees to ghostwrite a book for her family or her father's last book. And things go south. Do I know how they're going to go south? I'm not really following that now that I'm reading like the synopsis. That one's going to be interesting to figure out like where she's going to take that. But I mean, I'll read it. I'm trying to make that make sense in my brain. Okay, we'll just move forward. Moving on, this is also on June 3rd, Sister Butcher Sister by Katie Alden. This one is a mystery thriller. It follows 3 sisters. Sister, Butcher, Sister. So there's 2 sisters, one is a serial killer. And that's the premise. That's it. I don't want to know more. There's a huge synopsis, but I don't want to read it because I feel like that's going to give way too much away. Next up on June 3rd is The Unmapping by Denise S. Robbins. This one is another sci-fi that's coming out. When I said it earlier, I'm not kidding. There's so much sci-fi coming out. It is amazing. So amazing. If you're a sci-fi girly, it's your year. It's your year. This one is a dystopian near future sci-fi. It's still the same idea of like what could happen if we keep going in the trajectory that we're going at. And this one is about a disaster. Basically, people have gone to sleep and they've woken up and they're somewhere completely different. And it's happened all around the globe. Buildings have been transported to other places and no one knows why. There was no big boom, big bang, no shaking, no fire. So it's very misunderstood. No one understands what's happening. And that just sounds like so chaotic and amazing. And I can't wait to be in that whole world and see what Denise was like plotting when she thought up that idea. Like, do y'all think about near future books and sci-fi books and you're like, someone's sitting in their house and they're like, that could happen one day. I'm going to write about that. That blows my mind every day. Maybe that's just me. But like Augustina Bazterrica, who writes The Unworthy and Tender as the Flesh, I think about that woman all the time because I'm like, that lady, one day she was just like taking a shower and was like, yeah, that's scary. And that could happen one day. Let me write it and put it into people's minds to think about all the time. You succeeded. So I think that's what this book is going to do, The Unmapping. That one is coming out on June 3rd. That is it for the 3rd. The next release date in June is the 10th. This one, I only have 1 book I'm covering in this video. But like I said in that past video, I do have a few more coming out on this date. But the one I'm talking about in this video is So Far Gone by Jess Walter. This one is also a mystery thriller, but it's definitely, well, I'm not going to say thriller. It's going to be more cozy mystery. I really like this one because of the cover. It is such a beautiful cover. I have heard such great things about this book so far. We're basically following an older gentleman who is a reclusive, hidden, very private journalist. It's probably, it seems like on the cover, I mean, it's literally like a cabin in the forest. I'm assuming he's so reclusive that he lives in a cabin in the forest or something like that. But he has to go, and he goes on a journey to figure out where his kidnapped grandchild is. And I just, okay, well, I really love when books are centered around like older elderly people. I think I love older elderly people. I think they are the funniest people alive, and they have such good perspective on life. And I love reading books from that perspective, because they just are made so quirky in books. And so I think that is going to be the highlight of this book, is the main older gentleman that we're reading about. If Jess can do it right, he may be my favorite character of the year. I'm really excited about this one. I believe this is also a debut novel. Check. Wow. Not a debut novel. Also, I definitely thought this was a woman, and that is on me. That's on me. I'll take, yeah, that's my bad. This is definitely a man, Jess Walter. He actually writes a lot of popular books. How did I not know that? Okay. Well, y'all are probably like, this idiot. Just go pick it up. So Far Gone by Jess Walter. I'm gonna go educate myself on this author and his books, and maybe pick up a couple before I pick up this one, because I'm clearly not educated on that. Next, we're moving on to the next release date in June, and that is the 17th. First, we have Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. This one, I did not read the synopsis. It is number 4 in the Vancouver Storm series. I just wanted to put it on here because I do know I have some romance readers that watch my videos, and I'm a romance reader. I haven't read this series, but I am excited to pick it up. If you've read the series and you're like, when is the next one coming out? June 17th. You're welcome. The next one I've heard, or the next one that's coming out on June 17th, I have not seen a single bad thing about, and that is Someone Knows by V. Keeland. This one, I don't really want to read a whole lot about it, but I have just seen so many ARC reviewers who have raved about this book. Like, said it is the best thing ever. It is so captivating and funny and immersive and atmospheric, and I'm just really excited for that. I've never read anything by this author. I know this author writes both romance and mystery thriller, and if you know me, I love Shanora Williams, and she does that, so I'm like, maybe that's my sign. So that's coming out on June 17th. The next one coming out on June 17th, this one I've not seen anything about. I just read the synopsis and I ate it up. That is Steal My Breath Away by Sarah Castile. This is a bodyguard romance. The blurb relates it back to Anna Huang's book, Twisted Games. If you don't love the Twisted series, you're not going to love me. I love the Twisted series. The Twisted series was one of the first things I read when I got back into reading after high school. I kind of took a break because I'm still in school, and I was like, reading is lame. I don't want to read if I'm not doing school. But now I found what I love to read. Thank you to Anna Huang. And so this one is very similar to Twisted Games. But this one is about a singer and her bodyguard falling in love. Instead of like a princess and her bodyguard, this is about a singer and her bodyguard. I don't need to know anything more. The cover is gorgeous. I love bodyguard romance if they're done well, if they're done right, and if the chemistry and the tension is good. Like, you gotta be able to cut it. I also love books that are like one trope. Like, they're like, that author is confident enough to say, that's it. That's what you're getting, and that should be enough. And that was enough for me. Anyway, random thought. The next one is on actually the 19th, which is a really odd day. This is one I'm assuming is going to be an independently published book or from a smaller publisher. I also have never heard of it. I don't even think the cover is on Goodreads. I don't know how I found this book actually. I have no idea, but this one is The Neighbors by Emma Babington. Like I said, this one is coming out on June 19th. It is considered psychological suspense. This is the blurb. It's one sentence on Goodreads. If you look it up on Goodreads, you have to type in The Neighbors with a U, and you have to look it up with the author name, Emma Babington, or it will not come up. But this one, it says, it's a one-line blurb. You're almost certain your daughter didn't kill the neighbor, but what if she did? And that's enough for me. That's enough for me. I'm bought in. I'm bought in, and that's how easy it is. So if that's not something that sounds interesting to you, it could be a me thing. But I love thrillers where I need to know this much to like get me on the hook, and I'm bought in. And it could be like a 1,000-page book. They gotta give me this much, and I'm like, sure, I'll read it. So that's The Neighbors by Emma Babington. This video is crazy. This video is crazy. I'm so sorry. I'm having a great time though. I hope y'all are having a great time. This is what I enjoy about like making videos like this. I do this for fun. I come home from my day job and I get to talk about books with you guys, about the things that run through my head, and it makes me happy. And I hope that this gives y'all just a reprieve from how stressful life is. And we can just talk about books and you can see how chaotic my life and my mind are and relate to me, because I don't have it all together. I'm not perfect. And like I said, I've been prepping for this for a month. Nobody could tell. Nobody could tell. But we're here and we're doing it and we're having a good time. So I have one more book in June. I want to talk about. This one is coming out on the 24th, and this is called Happy Wife. This one is by two authors, Meredith Lavender, gorgeous name, and Kendall Shores. If those aren't pen names, I'm jealous, but great pen names if they're pen names. Happy Wife by Meredith Lavender and Kendall Shores is on June 24th. The cover is neon. Love that. I love that. I have this section on my book cart that's just a bunch of neon books, because I just have random books that are like true neon, and this one's gonna go on there. This one's gonna go on there. The blurb on Goodreads on this one is: a young woman must find her missing husband and prove her innocence in this twisty, unputdownable novel set in an ultra-wealthy Florida community where looks can kill. Yeah, once again, I don't need much to know that I'm gonna love it. Anything with like rich socialite drama, and then you add in like mystery thriller elements, you got me. You got me. Because like, I'm not rich, okay? Not rich. I don't have no mansion or anything. I don't have a lot of friends. And so it's really interesting to see the way other people write socialites and what we think happens in the lives of socialites. If you have any books that you know of people that were socialites or that were super wealthy, that lived a very upper echelon lifestyle, and they have their perspective of life in it and around it and after it, let me know. I would love to read more about that whole world. That maybe sound very out of touch for me, but like I don't know. I love reading things from other people's perspectives so that I can live kind of vicariously through them and see how they experience life, because I'm never going to be able to experience all of life. And I can do that through books, through reading other people's perspective. And that's the beautiful thing about reading. Another tangent with me, but that's the beautiful thing about reading. And if you have any books that are just stories that you've loved or you really connected to, send them to me. I want to read people's stories. That's what excites me about reading. That wraps up June. I know some of those books I didn't have a good blurb for, or a lot of synopsis points for. I'm really sorry about that. I don't typically read synopses of mysteries and thrillers because I feel like they can taint how you read them, or at least take away from the shock factor. So I try not to read those, but I do like to tell y'all what's coming out, at least the genre and the author, and a little bit of what I know about them that got me excited. With that being said, we're on to July. July is like the biggest month of the year. It is a massive month. Massive month. We are in for it. If you're saving up for a month, save up for July, because I mean, we have a little bit of everything coming out of this month. This month starts with July 1st. That is Overruled by Lana Ferguson. This is a workplace romance from Lana Ferguson. It's about lawyers and people that work in the court system. I believe they are rivals, I want to say. The cover, I can already tell the tension is going to be so good. Um, I Oh, okay. So with Lana Ferguson, don't read her books anticipating they're going to be 5 stars. They're so funny, so quirky. The female characters she writes are just so funny, so funny. I feel like I'm friends with them at the end and I'm rooting for them, and they're so, like, they're just hilarious. This one I think is always going to give the same energy. That's what I read Lana Ferguson for, is just a reliable rom-com. And this one is workplace centered. I believe her last one was sports. And then her first one was also workplace romance, but it was more like single dad. And I loved that one. I know not everyone did, but I did. And I think this one's going to be awesome. Lawyer workplace romance. Next on July 1st, this is what I just found out about the other day, and I was so excited for it. It's called Sunburn by Catherine Wood. The other book by Catherine Wood that I am dying to read is Lady Killer. I have literally tried to pick that book for my TBR every month this year, and the jar and the spinner wheel and the association words and all the things I do to choose my TBR, they're working against Lady Killer. But Lady Killer is the other book by this author. I want to read it so bad. When I found out about this book, I was so excited that this author was already releasing another one, because I just already know I'm going to love Lady Killer. So why wouldn't I love this one? This one, I also remember reading the synopsis and thinking a lot of Before We Were Innocent by Ella Berman, which is one of my all-time favorite books from a couple years back. So good. It's an amazing literary fiction centered around friendship primarily, but it also has a major mystery aspect and plot line to it. And this one sounds really similar. I really tried to remember all of these things for y'all, but I couldn't keep up with all of them, so I'm gonna have to reference back. Um, so this one says St. Barth's has a rate of 0, but that's about to change. I can't say the word because of YouTube, but it's all about basically a St. Bart's. They have no crime rate, but then suddenly they do. And I'm assuming we're going to find out why. And I just, if it if it's anything like Ella Berman's writing, which her synopses sound like it, it's just going to have amazing relational elements. And that's something I really love in thrillers. I feel like the connection between people and their relationship and how they backstab and everything in thrillers is what makes them so thrilling a lot of the time. We're moving on to July 8th now. This is the next release date in June. The first one coming out on June 8th is Bittersweet by Hattie Williams. This one is about a workplace affair between, I believe, a publicist and one of her employees, or maybe boss, it sounds like, maybe older man. But she finds herself in an affair, and you're basically just following her. As I'm assuming, it teaches her a lot of lessons. She may run into some issues with the wife of the person that she's having an affair with. I don't know how it's going to go, but it does sound pretty drama filled. There was another book I DNF'd that sounded a lot like this one, but the cover is gorgeous. If you're into like the really pretty literary fiction covers, and maybe none of them sound good to you, this might be one that actually appeals to you if you're into like the thriller aspect of literary fiction and you wish that they were a little more fast paced. This one sounds like it's going to be really fast paced and really drama filled in the best way possible. Okay, next we have Night Watcher by Daphne Wollstonecraft. Wollstonecraft. Daphne Wollstonecraft. So Night Watcher is about a woman who runs like a late night radio show. The old ones where you like called in and you could talk to the radio host and stuff. I know those are still around, but I don't listen to the radio like that. If you do, you know what I'm talking about. But this one is about a lady who runs one of those radio shows, and she has a person call in to report a very eerie scene around them. And she's transported back to a crime that she lived through and was a survivor of. And I'm assuming it's just going to travel through like her paranoia and reliving that trauma and working through it. And it may come back to haunt her. I'm assuming that's kind of what the Night Watcher is alluding to, is maybe that crime does come back to, to haunt her in like in a real way. Okay, next on July 8th is Stay Away from Him by Andrew DeYoung. This is another author that I've never read anything from. I don't think they are a debut author. I've adjusted in my beanbag. We're just hanging out now. Haven't seen a whole lot about this book. I just saw it on NetGalley and I read the synopsis and I was like, that may be something I pick up eventually, and I just kind of added it to this video. It says, on the evening she met an exonerated criminal, Thomas Danver, Melissa Berg let him help put her 5-year-old son to bed before coming back upstairs to enjoy the dinner party. Thomas was so nice, and a pediatrician, she didn't know anything then about his wife's suspicious death. One thing I want to know, what did he do to that little boy when he was put in bed? Because why is that in the first line of the synopsis? That's got to be a major point in the book, and I'm counting on it. Okay, now I'm going to go read this book. Okay, gotta buy it. See, this is what happens. I read synopses, I put them on a list. I don't read the synopses for a little bit. I reread them, and I'm excited about them again, and this is why they're on the list. So pick that one up. That one sounds really interesting to me, at least. Stay Away from Him by Andrew DeYoung. The next one I put on the list is Her Many Faces by Nikki Cloak. This one, they say it is a lot like Abigail Dean's Girl A, and then Notes on an Execution. It says it is a whip-smart and suspenseful story of a woman on trial for murder, as told through the eyes of the most important men in her life. So, oh, that sounds so good. That sounds so good. It's gonna be like different POVs through a trial of a woman who is on trial. They think she did it, and I'm assuming we're gonna get to see it kind of from the witnesses' eyes as they're on the witness stand. Um, how they see her as the criminal. Do they believe she actually did it or not? And that sounds so good. So good. This next one, I don't know a lot about it. I just wanted to put it in because I've seen a lot of my friends on Goodreads post about it recently. That is The Other Wife by Jackie Thomas Kennedy. It's just it's a general fiction book. I'm assuming it has some kind of domestic element to it because it's called The Other Wife. But if you're into general fiction, I've seen a lot of positive things on this book, so I just wanted to throw it in here to recommend it to any fiction readers. I'll get around to reading it at some point. I just don't read literary fiction that often or very quickly. So just few and far between. But this is one that I have seen so many good things about that I probably will end up picking it up. The next one I wanted to talk about is also coming out on the 15th. That one is Everyone is Lying to You by Joe Piazza. This one is really interesting. The premise is really interesting. It is focused on the whole trad wife trend that's going on right now. I don't know if it's really a trend, but I mean, it's a whole hashtag, so I would consider it a trend. It's just traditional wife. It's women who choose to live more domestically and by, I guess, societal expectations of women, cooking, cleaning, bearing kids, things like that, who really enjoy it. There's no shame in it. If you choose to live that way, do it, girl. I don't care. It's not my choice. I think that we should let people live the way they want to live. If they're not hurting other people, it's your life to live, not mine. But this one is around that whole trad wife trend. It's very controversial right now. A lot of people disagree with it. It follows two estranged friends, a grisly scene, a sudden disappearance, and a truly shocking revelation that everyone is lying to you about something. So I'm assuming with it being centered around the whole trad wife movement thing that's going on, there's going to be strong like familial ties and familial expectation that's going to kind of tie it all up in a bow. And when there's familial expectation um, or a lot of pressure from the family, that always adds a whole nother element to the reading experience, because the other family members are always such huge characters in the book where it wouldn't make sense. The next one on the 15th and the last one on the 15th is Until Allison by Kate Russo. This one is following a woman who was once at the scene of a crime, an unaliving, and she could have stopped it, she believes, and she goes on to live her life, and it catches back up to her. She gets caught back up in it, like it always does in these books, and she has to start kind of or rethinking about it, reliving it, and looking at it from a different perspective now that she has grown up. It sounds very similar to Ella Berman's Before We Were Innocent, of two friends, very close. They do something that really separates them. This one happens to be unalived. And so she doesn't ever come back in the story, I'm assuming. But I do think that like those relationships tend to come back and haunt the main character in books like these. So that's what I'm assuming will happen in this one. I just really like that premise, that whole idea of like friends turning their back on each other. They split ways and they think they're free of each other until it comes back to haunt them later on, or they cross paths again. That's just something that I think is a really, really awesome storyline for books and can be really added on to and embellished and can really change based on the setting and how the characters are written. But yeah, that wraps up July 15th. The next release day is July 22nd. This one is Prayer by Dan Fesperman. This one is about a guy who goes over to Eastern Europe to basically go undercover, and he is trying to, I believe, take down the government from the top down. Like from the top down. Yeah. So he is actually a disgraced comedian turned politician, and he flies over to take down a dictator of an Eastern European country. And he goes undercover, and I'm assuming it's going to go deep into like the Russian mob and that whole world. It sounds a lot like what I associate Steve Kavanaugh's writing with. I think it's going to be very similar to his writing style. So if you're a fan of Steve Kavanaugh and you love like legal thrillers and legal crime thrillers where there's organized crime and maybe some kind of like law aspect, I think this one would be for you. I also believe, okay, no, it's not a debut novel. I need to read some more from this author because I read the synopsis and I was bought in immediately. And I did the same thing with Steve Kavanaugh, and now he's like one of my all-time favorite authors. So I need to give him a try because he sounds just like Harlan and Steve. And those are like my two favorite authors of thrillers of all time. Steve, I say that about so many authors. Do y'all do that? Like, do y'all say, oh my God, that's my favorite author or one of my favorite authors? And then you realize that your list of favorite authors is 50 authors long, and you're like, they can't all be your favorite. Welcome to my brain, guys. The next one I saw, I'm really, really excited about. There hasn't been much horror being released this year, which I've realized. But this next one is Myra by Nikki Gonzalez. This is straight horror. Group of friends go, they travel back to a house. There's heavy influence on their life in the past as childhood friends. They go back, and you're just going through their experience as friends, having their own desires, having their own aspirations, and then being brought back into this house where they all kind of met and all related to each other and started the whole thing. The next one that I saw, this one I'm not I'm not pumped about it, but I'm also kind of interested, and that is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. Holly Jackson wrote one of the big YA mystery series. I don't know which one off the top of my head, but she's mainly a YA author. I don't read YA. I don't read YA. I'm in my mid 20s. It's just not for me anymore. I can't relate to it, and I can't do it. So I haven't read any of her books. I've heard great things. I just know they won't be for me. But this is actually going to be her first adult fiction. and it's going to be a mystery thriller. And I was just interested to see that it was actually adult fiction. So I'm sure I will pick it up just because of the hype around her YA novels. And I'm excited to see what she does with adult fiction. If you got like the ARC or anything, if you've heard anything, if you've known anybody who's read it, I'd love to hear like what you had to say about it or what you've heard about it, if y'all think it's going to be worth the read. And if you read the YA series, do you think that she's going to be a great adult fiction writer? I just kind of want to know thoughts before I buy it and dive into her work. Okay, that was the last one for the 22nd. We're moving on to the 29th. I'm starting with a heavy hitter, and that is Guess Again by Charlie Don Lee. Guess Again was it was one of my first ARC requests for the year. I love Charlie Don Lee so much. Um, he's an amazing author. Me and Micah are currently listening to 20 Years Later on audiobook. My favorite from him is Summit Lake so far. So good. It's about like a journalist who goes and does like a full investigation in like a little waterside town. And it's just his writing is it's so good. So good. It's so addictive. But this is his new book. I'm not going to read the synopsis. I don't read his synopses. I want to go in completely blind. Um, and so, if you like Charlie Don Lee, definitely pick this one up. If you are wanting to read Charlie Don Lee and you haven't before, I would recommend starting with Summit Lake. Probably not this one. I would start with Summit Lake and see how you like it. See how you like him. If you like Charlie Don Lee, I would highly, highly recommend Harlan Coben. But this is one that I've been so excited for all year. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I cannot wait. The next one is more for you than me, and that is You Belong Here by Megan Miranda. I do not like Megan Miranda's books at all. But if you have liked her books in the past, I did want to let y'all know that she has a new one coming out. I'm not sure what it's about, but I did want to give you a heads up. I know she is a really popular author, and I'm the outlier on that one. I'm the outlier on a lot. It's okay. But I did want to give you a heads up. That one's coming out on the 29th. The next one I picked up, haven't heard anything about. That is The Cleaner by Mary Watson. This is about a lady who is hired to be a cleaner for another socialite family, and she hears things, she sees things, she does things that she maybe isn't supposed to, and that's really interesting to me. That one is also coming out on the 29th. Another heavy hitter. The next three are like they are good ones. The next one is She Didn't See It Coming by Sherry Lapina. I love Sherry Lapina. I know she's so controversial. I know you either love or hate her books. I love them. I love her books. She was my OG thriller read. That and James Patterson, The End of Her by Sherry Lapina, that like started my love for thrillers. And this is her new one. It's called She Didn't See It Coming. The cover is so cool too. It looks kind of like The Matrix. I don't know if y'all have watched I'm blanking on the movie's name, but I don't know if you've ever seen like pictures of what people believe the Matrix looks like. It kind of looks like that. I know it's just a skyscraper, but that's what it looks like. A beloved wife and mother disappears. A luxurious condo building transforms into a potential crime scene. And as the investigation begins, the question is, can the detectives find her before it's too late? Um, Sherry Lapina also, her writing is just very to the point. It's very short and sweet, very to the point, and I really like that from her. It hasn't worked for me in from all authors, but from her, I feel like she gives you just enough, and then in the end, you're like, I don't even know enough information for that to happen, but like it still makes sense. Does that make sense? Like she takes it makes sense. Just y'all get what I'm saying. And it just keeps you so involved because then as you're reading more of her books, you're like, that's a little. I'm gonna have to keep my eye on that. I'm gonna have to keep my eye on that because that's gonna come back to haunt me, And I don't know. I just love her writing. if you haven't picked up a book from her, I would recommend The End of Her. I know people don't love that one. I thought it was so good though. I was shocked by the ending of that one. I really hope this is another good one by her. The next one I picked up is Under the Stars by Beatrice Williams. Beatrice Williams is the author of Husband and Lovers. That is one that's on my 25 and 2025 this year. It's actually historical fiction. I've never read historical fiction before, but I don't think it's going to be my thing. But she is releasing Under the Stars this year on July 29th. I just found this one like 2 days ago, and I do not remember reading the synopsis. I just saw that it was from her, and I was like, gotta get that. When a daughter and her famous mother return to Winthrop Island to confront their complicated past, they discover a secret trove of paintings that connect them to a mysterious woman who vanished on a luxury steamship 2 centuries earlier. So it's about like stolen art. Definitely still historical fiction. I believe most of the time they're dual timeline, which is always super interesting, especially in historical fiction, because I'm assuming she writes in the way of like you get to go back to the lady with the stolen art, and then you're also following the POV of the current people who are trying to crack the mystery from decades ago. And that's a really interesting like idea to me. The very last one coming out in July, it's another random one, but I'm so excited for it, and that is Two Kinds of Strangers by Steve Kavanaugh. This is number 9 in the Eddie Flynn series. It's still going. I think I'm on 4 right now. This one is coming out on the 31st instead of the 29th. The cover just this week got announced. It was kind of a random announcement that it was getting released, but huge book announcement. I don't know if it's going to be the last book. I'm assuming he's going to be wrapping up soon, but they could go on forever, and I'll read all of them. Eddie Flynn is one of my favorite characters of all time. If you haven't read the Eddie Flynn series and you like thrillers, especially crime and legal thrillers, you've got to pick up the Eddie Flynn series. It is so good. He is such a funny character, and Steve Kavanaugh did such a good job writing Eddie Flynn. I think about him like he's a real person, and that's how you know a character is so well written. Okay, we are almost done. I'm just going to do a quick wrap up of August. August is a little bit of a smaller month. There's 2 reprints I wanted to talk about. They're, I believe, both releasing on the 5th. Yes, August 5th. One is The Devil's Advocate by Steve Kavanaugh. This is one of the books in the Eddie Flynn series. I believe the whole series is getting reprinted, but specifically Devil's Advocate is coming out on August 5th. I'll put the new cover up. And then the second one is The Wrong Sister by Claire Douglas. It's also getting reprinted in hardcover, and I'll put the new cover up. These were 2 that I got sent ARCs for both of them. I really enjoyed The Wrong Sister. I haven't read The Devil's Advocate yet. I will also link the video that the review for The Wrong Sister's in if you want to go listen to that. But other than the reprints, on August 5th, LA Woman by Ella Berman is coming out. I've already talked about that one in this video. It is a friendship-based literary fiction. Ella Berman's one of like my all-time favorite authors. She is such a beautiful author. Like, she writes so poetically, so lyrically, with conviction and passion, and you can just tell through her writing that she connects to the characters she's writing. And I live for her characters and how she writes them. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That one's actually on my TBR for this month. I need to pick it up. I got sent the ARC. Thank you so much, Ella Berman. Oh my God, I love you. Okay, the next one on August 5th is Tantrum by Rachel Eve Moulton. This is a horror novel about being a mother. It's another one of those like creepy kid scares you out of motherhood horror books. I don't need to read anymore, but I'm going to anyway. It also has an octopus coming out of the carriage on the front. Yep, works for me. The next one and the last one on August 5th is The Locked Ward by Sarah Pekkanen. This one is a mystery thriller, I believe, about like a psych ward. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to Ward D by Frida McFadden. I also have never read anything by Sarah Pekkanen, but I'm super excited to read House of Glass by her. That was one of the books I got for Christmas. That's the one I want to start from her. I know she has other books, but that one is the one I'm really excited about. This one, yeah, it's about a woman who's locked in a psychiatric ward, and it goes into a lot about her past childhood and her past trauma, and I'm sure it's gonna be crazy. The next release date is August 12th. The first one I have for this is Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. This isn't a book around rogue elderly people. Yeah, so it follows an older lady. Her name is Lottie. She's a retired serial killer, and she um, kind of has gone into reclusion. She has become a recluse. She doesn't like to talk to people, and she's laid low. And now somebody has come to ask her about her past, figure out, like, kind of suss her out, and she has to get rid of that person because she can't have that. She can't be caught, you know, she can't have that. Love at First Sighting. This one is like a UFO, paranormal, extraterrestrial life romance, and I literally got something. I got something ARC, and I asked for it because of the cover, because it has a literal UFO on it. I love learning about all of that, like aliens, UFOs, and the thought that like two like UFO hunters are gonna fall in love. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I love it. Um, on August 12th, again, Artificial Wisdom is being released. This is by Thomas R. Weaver. It's near future. It's very dark. I thought it had like a dark academia element to it, but I don't believe so. It's more of like an environmental disaster mystery thriller, just a general mystery thriller. But it's definitely set in the future. It's set in 2050. Yeah, it's in 30 years what the world is going to look like. 2050 is a decade after a heat wave that killed 400 million across the Persian Gulf. Wow, 400 million? That's a lot of people. And so now he's trying to uncover the truth. The main character is trying to uncover the truth of why all these people died and why this heat wave happened that randomly killed a huge number of people. That's a lot of people now that I'm reading that out loud. I don't know, the cover is really interesting. I think I thought it was more dark academia than that, but it does say that it's perfect for fans of Blake Crouch and Harlan Coben, and I love both of them, so I'm gonna have to pick it up just because of that. And also just like the whole 400 million people being wiped out by a heat wave, and you have to like figure out why that happened. One man. That's interesting. I also got sent Minka Kent's new book, Circle of Strangers. This one's coming out on August 19th, so I thought I would add it in. I got sent the ARC. I know, yeah, it's number 2 in the Dangerous Strangers Thrillers book. That's what the series is called. It's book number 2. The lengths neighbors will go to protect their secrets become downright frightening in a gripping novel of suspense by Minka Kent. I read Unmissing by this author last year, and it was so easy to read. It's super fast paced. Her books are super short, and they're really like palate cleansing. They're just very basic thrillers. This is another one of those, like, you think you know your neighbors well, and you think you can trust your next door neighbor, but they may be the worst people you know, and they may be the first to stab you in the back. And I'm assuming all of the women like on the outside of the cover are going to represent all of the different like wives in the neighborhood that are backstabbing each other. Another big theme this year. The next one that's coming out on the 19th, and the last one. So this is the other one that's coming out on the 19th. It's called Love at First Sight by Laura Jane Williams. This is a romance. It's kind of the one that got away. It's a meet cute. There's a fire alarm that ends up getting pulled wherever they are, and they end up getting to meet while like in the craziness of getting out of this fire and escaping the fire alarm, or just leaving the building, evacuating. They connect through evacuation, she's like, this is the one, but then they get split up before they can exchange numbers. And then she's like, oh my God, I'm never going to see him again. And she's heartbroken. And then he shows back up into her life, but she still can't have him for some reason. And it's following that journey. And those books are always like the best when, like, the second chance, you have to kind of work to get that back and that original feeling back. And so the end always hits so hard. This one, I don't know anything about her, the author, and I've never heard anything about the book. I just read the synopsis and thought it was really, really cute. And it just sounds like very heartwarming and cozy. And I just want to wrap up like on a rainy day in a blanket and read it. Okay, we have two more, and then we're done. The next one is the next two are on the 26th of August. They're gonna be my last two. The first one's a heavy hitter. It is Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. I love Stacey Willingham. A Flicker in the Dark is one of my favorite thriller reads. It is a solid read. I would recommend it to anyone, especially any new thriller reader. That is a great one to start your thriller journey on. So if you're looking for a thriller to just dip your toes into, A Flicker in the Dark is really awesome. Stacey Willingham's writing is very digestible. It's written it's not very flowery, but it's written very emotionally. A lot of times they're centered around a main character that's a woman or a mom, and they act very emotionally, and you're just bought in to their emotion. And this is, I'm sure, going to be one that's the same way. I don't want to read what it's about because I don't want to ruin anything for myself. But I know a lot of people love Stacey Willingham. Also, she went, I think, like a year or two without publishing a book. So I know that this has been big news for a lot of people that she's finally coming out with a book again, because that's how I felt. I've been checking her Goodreads profile like once a month to check if she's coming out with a new book. And I was like on the floor when I found out this one was coming out. That one's on August 26th. And last, but certainly not least, is The Break-In by Katherine Faulkner. This one, it follows a woman who her house gets broken into one night by an intruder, and she has to act in self-defense and unalive that person. But it takes her down a whole nother terrifying path that she obviously was not expecting to be dragged into. And I'm assuming we're going to follow her like through maybe a trial or her getting in trouble, but also just her psychological and mental state after doing that and protecting her family. I cannot imagine it would ever be easy to act in self-defense like that and then just move on and live your life while also simultaneously going through a traumatic event like a intrusion into your house, like a break-in into your house. I also have never read anything by Katherine Faulkner, but I've heard really great things. So I think this one will be one that I start with for her. If you've read anything else from her, I would love to know like what y'all think and what some of her other great books are, because I have heard good things. She's just one of those authors that I don't know a lot about. I do own The Other Mothers, I believe. Yes, I own The Other Mothers by her. But I heard really good things about that, but now I'm conflicted. Do I want to start with this one or do I want to start with The Other Mothers? So maybe y'all can give me your 2 cents on that. Like I said, this video was just May through August. My next video will be later on in the year, and that will cover September through December. If you wanted to check out the beginning part of the year, you can check out my video in the description below. Thank y'all so much for joining me today. I had so much fun chatting with you guys. I know this was a long one. I hope that y'all could listen to this while y'all were working or driving or doing the dishes or whatever you like to do while listening to YouTube. I hope this was a reprieve from your stressful, crazy life, and I hope you can slow down and take a little bit of time for yourself. I hope y'all have had a great week, and I can't wait to see y'all in the next one. Bye.